This is the plaintiff, Lisa Klein. She says she's lived in her apartment for 40 years. And 4 years ago, when the defendant moved in, it's been one problem after another. The guy's had leaks in his place. It drips through her ceiling into her apartment. And he must sublet his apartment to people who come from the moon or Mars because he doesn't conduct background checks on them. She's had it with this guy and is suing for $5,000 for all he's put her through. This is the defendant, George Stikos. He says the plaintiff's a little off base because he showed her a broken mirror once and claimed his tenants caused the mirror to break because they're heavy walkers. The woman's very nasty, is being unreasonable, and has nothing to do with her time, so she comes after him for bogus things. He's accused of not being very neighborly.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. So get this. The plaintiff has lived in her apartment for 40 years, and then all of a sudden some tenants move into the building. They make her life a living nightmare and says the defendant landlord won't do anything about it. But the landlord says that this woman is acting like she owns the place. It's the case of squatter. He hardly knew her.
Lisa Klein?
Yes.
You are suing George Stikos for $5,000 in damages because, according to you, he rented to tenants who stomped on the ground to the point where your medicine cabinet fell down.
Mm-hmm.
And many other damages, according to you.
Yes, correct.
All right. You're going to have to explain to me what you're trying to say here. Go ahead.
Mr. Stikos here moved in 2008, the same day when my husband died. He passed away. Mr. Stikos moved in. However, in April of 2009, I started having a lot of problems because I was getting leaks, a lot of leaks from him. I told him, and he refused to do anything howsoever.
Well, did you say you live in a condo, right?
Yes, correct.
Did you tell the condo board?
Yes, I did. I went and I told them because, after 5 complaints, so finally the condo came in, the condo repair people came in and they fixed it. So anyway, back in 2011, he rented the apartment. And he rented to a family with a kid. But constantly the kids kept jumping and jumping and jumping.
How old is the kid?
7 or 8 years old.
More than one child?
One.
And
45 pounds.
They also
how many pounds?
45 pounds.
Okay.
Okay. It started with my lamp in the kitchen. The light went off.
Because someone's walking or jumping above you? The light's going off?
Part of the lamp in the ceiling in the kitchen came down.
Do you have evidence that a lamp came down?
Yes.
What did you do when the lamp came down?
I got
when you
very
say came
upset.
down, do you mean falls completely down?
Well, part of it fell down.
What part of it fell down?
Oh, part of the frame.
The wood molding?
And then the light.
The wood
Two
molding?
of the lights, right. 2 of the lights went off. Then my smoke detector test came in. One day I got fed up already. I called him again. Mr. Stikos refused to do anything.
What did he say to you?
I said, George, do me a favor. Why don't you put at least some type of rug, so I wouldn't have so much
Did they not have
damage.
rugs?
I told them and they put rugs.
They did put rugs?
Yep.
Okay.
Area rugs. Not like
Okay.
carpeted the whole
Area
place.
rugs. Well,
Right.
I don't know.
So your bottom line is that he rented to people who had a child who weighs 45 pounds, who stomped around so much that your kitchen light broke, your ceiling fan came down?
Yep. And
Yeah, let me see
also-
your ceiling fan coming down. Do you call anybody from the condo board while any of this is going on?
Oh, yes. I made 4 complaints. Here they
Let
are.
me see the complaint. Okay, this is a picture of your ceiling fan, but it's not down, it's
This is
up and
above the
attached. What am I supposed to see in this picture?
In this picture, that's the thing that it goes around the light came down.
You mean the globe,
No,
the glass?
everything,
I'm sorry, I
everything.
don't understand what you're saying. Do you mean the glass globe
Yeah,
Okay, what is this supposed to be a picture of?
that is the bathroom.
What about the bathroom? What are you
Okay.
saying?
I was in the bed and I heard like a big boom, and the kid was jumping, and I was aggravated. So all of a sudden, the cabinet right here, the door is made out of, hit the cabinet, broke.
Are you talking
Hit-
about the mirror on the
The
cabinet
mirror
came
on
down?
the cabinet fell.
Okay, and it did what to the toilet?
It did that. What to the toilet? Destroy it.
Show me where it's destroyed.
She's saying that the seat connects to there, and this piece is missing from there.
What do you mean it's missing? I mean, if a mirror fell down, then it knocked it out, then where's the piece?
I don't know what happened. The only thing I know,
Okay, what's
I
going
took
on, Mr.
pictures.
Stickles?
Hold
What's
on,
going on?
hold on.
Pictures of.
She had called me and complained about the noise. So I called my tenants. I said, what's going on? She's telling me that your child is running around making too much noise. So they said, he's not really running around. He's, goes to bed at a certain time. He comes home from school. We eat with him. He might occasionally skip this, that, like a normal kid. So I said, can you just do me a favor? I don't want to have any headaches. Please just, keep it to, as much of a minimum as you can. Then Lisa called me again and said, my mirror broke. Then I went to her apartment to see the damage. She's like, you have to, I want you to see the damage. So I walked in, I saw a broken mirror and a toilet seat cover.
Did she ever show you anything about a ceiling fan or a lamp in the kitchen? Or
No, well, we walked into the bathroom and we just looked at that. And I saw the mirror had 3 mirrors. And I said, just the middle piece fell out. I was like, I looked at that and I'm like, is it possible it wasn't installed properly? Maybe the middle piece was a little weaker. How could just 1 out of 3 that are all installed the same exact way fall out? I said, whatever, So then she tells me, you hear him?
and did you?
And then we both got really quiet and we heard a little pitter patter of a child, maybe skipping or something. And I was like, at that point, I said to myself, okay, this is really unreasonable. And I don't think she has a valid claim here. And that's when I said, I'm sorry, but, I'm sorry. I told her at that point, I said, listen, just to make this go away, I don't want any headaches. How about we split the cost of this mirror piece and the toilet seat cover, which can't be that much. I was like, I'll put in half the money just to make this go away. I don't want any headaches. And she's like, I am not paying for this. I said, okay. At that point, I was like, she's not going to be reasonable with me. She's unreasonable and there's nothing I can do.
So is the landlord responsible for really awful tenants in the building?
Well, I think you have a right to a habitable living space.
Okay, fair enough. Is the landlord responsible if tenants are just noisy and awful?
If you bring it to the landlord's attention and they do nothing, then yes.
You buy that?
Yes, I do. And to an extent, the landlord is responsible.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
Well, let's talk about reasonable. Is she suing you for $2,362.59 for a licensed contractor to install a medicine cabinet, a toilet seat, and a ceiling fan?
Because all that light has to be removed and put back.
Do you understand how unreasonable you sound? And then an additional $2,227.94 for pain and suffering.
Yes. Had you seen from the beginning, Your Honor, how irresponsible he was when I reported the leaks?
But you're
For
not
so
suing for the
many
leaks. The leaks got
times.
resolved. The leaks are 5 years ago. How long have you lived there, Ms. Klein?
I lived there for 40 years.
Okay. Ms. Klein, I understand that you feel that your home is your castle, and it is, and I understand that. But when you choose to do condo or apartment living, one of the things that you agree to do is live in harmony with other people because you don't have your single family home. And that is within reasonable limits. If somebody is excessively noisy, I have a right to be free from somebody who's excessively noisy. Having said that, different people have different tolerance levels. I am an extremely noise-sensitive person. I will hear a dripping faucet in another house. I am very sensitive, so I understand your pain, but that doesn't make you and I reasonable, okay? The child has a right to walk in his apartment. He can't stomp, but if it's a 45-pound child, how can it possibly be doing these things? I don't, how is it that somebody walking upstairs can cause the sky to fall down? everything's fine. It's raining appliances because a kid is skipping upstairs. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Do you have an affidavit from the family? Did they write anything for you for court?
They did.
Let me see that. I work from 9 to 6 every day. My wife's a stay-at-home mom and works as a freelance makeup artist 10 hours a week. My son is 8 and weighs 45 pounds. We pride ourselves in supervising our son since we are well aware that we live above another person. We make sure he does not run and play excessively and he doesn't disturb anyone. And our daily routine includes removing our shoes before entering the apartment. We are upstanding citizens of New York, a hardworking family. We pride ourselves on being respectful of our neighbors in our community. We did everything in our power to live upstairs from Mrs. Klein. However, we feel extremely uncomfortable with her non-neighborly ways. I guess she would say something to them too. And
Yes.
we subsequently moved to another residence and asked to be let out of our lease over this.
Which I allowed them to because I didn't.
How long before their lease?
Their lease had a couple more months on it. So
Yeah.
Your Honor, I have the neighbor who live upstairs. She would like to,
Upstairs from whom?
from me,
I thought
for
his tenants.
35 years before he came into the picture. And
Okay.
I brought her as a witness.
Thank you very much. I don't need to hear from her, Ms. Klein. The only question I have in front of me is, have you adequately proven that a child that weighs 45 pounds has somehow caused the ceiling to fall down? It is not whether you are angry with the person who owns a unit above you because of some leaks that happened that you don't feel he tended to quickly enough. It is not that your rights are being disrespected because it's not as quiet as it was when she lived there for 35 years. That's just not what it's about. You've come to me with $5,000 worth of damages that you want him to pay you because he rented to noisy neighbors. And that's not going to happen. My verdict is for the defendant.
And so with a ruling for the defendant, this is the plaintiff coming out on the losing end of this case. What's your comment?
I have no comment.
What are you going to do now?
There's a will, there's a way. I try all the ways.
Well, what's it like in the apartment now?
In the apartment, it's nice.
It's nice now? It's
Yes,
quiet now?
It's quiet.
Okay.
This is my neighbor. She had kids too. And we know each other over 40
Nice
years.
to meet you.
I lived in that same apartment there, and I had 3 children too, and we never had a problem.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's okay. All right. Head right down there. Follow Officer McIntosh. All right. So come on in here. Step in. What do you think of this?
I think justice was prevailed today. I think there was really nothing there for her. And, I'm glad with the ruling that Judge Milian gave today.
There's nothing more. There's nothing worse than really an inconsiderate neighbor above you in an apartment or on either side, right?
Absolutely.
You agree with that, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
But these people were not, unruly or noisy. I mean, I rented it to them. I saw them. Their demeanor was very calm. They're very nice
They
people,
were
very quiet,
considerate neighbors
very considerate.
in the opinion
Yeah, absolutely.
of the judge and you.
Absolutely.
Okay, over to Harvey.
The fact is the tenants do all sorts of crazy things that landlords are not responsible for. They may play music too loud, whatever they do. The landlord is only responsible if the tenant is so bad that the tenant creates a health and safety risk to the other tenants in the building. Otherwise, you go after the tenant, the landlord's off the hook.